Hey, what's up, team? Welcome to the D.M.C podcast with your hosts, me, Adam Rigby, and the myth, the man, the legend, the inevitable, the undeniable, Mr. Cody Hunter. Bro, kia ora, welcome. How are you?
Hey, mate. I'm very, very good, brother. And I think we should let the cat out of the bag pretty early because we're going to start looking in a different direction very quickly because I don't know if we're just going to look at each other through the computer, but Adam and I, we're actually in the same place today.
What?
We're coming over.
There we go. Here we go.
So we're very excited, as you can probably tell, and we are looking through the computer still, but this may change in dynamic. We've got a couple of different angles coming on. So just so you know, that's what's happening. Ideally, we'll go for audio, bro. We'll just look at each other and the videos can just follow us wherever we go. Eh? How's that sound?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, fully. Hey, first and foremost, how great to finally catch up, eh? I mean, we've been having DMCs, podcast chats, phone calls, for what?
For 17 weeks, mate.
17 weeks.
17 weeks we've been going now. So it's crazy, and you do just get super used to doing it through the computer.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there like, holy fuck, it's right there, bro.
This is weird. Eye contact. What is that? Oh, yeah.
I don't want to get to see it anymore. I like the protecting computer in front of us.
Yeah.
But it's cool, bro. It's very cool. And we've been together now for a couple of days for obviously for business, and but it's been tough to get some time to actually sit down and get this done. So it's been a good day, and here we are.
And 18 episodes deep.
Wow, mate.
Wow.
Crazy, eh? And when you reflect on that, because the numbers sort of are interesting, eh? And you get those sort of milestone and benchmarks, but I feel like now anything over like that 10 number is just like kind of mind-boggling, I feel, because that's a lot. In terms of episodes, sure, it's 18 episodes. But in terms of weeks and time and duration and effort, it's mate, this is a long time. Yeah. It's fucking cool. We've been keeping it up. It's going, we love it. It's something we're very passionate about, and people are loving it too, so it's cool, man.
Practicing what we have preached for so long. We're talking about showing up, first and foremost, being consistent. We've been looking after each other. We've been motivating each other. We've been doing our daily catch-ups. So, man, what a flipping roller coaster ride, eh? Man, what a roller coaster ride.
And yeah, and you're right. Those daily D.M.Cs as well. Like we didn't start them right away, though, did we? When we did kick them off, though, again, there's a lot of content on there. I think, what did I post the other day for? It was like 80 something.
Yep.
Yeah. So again, 80 odd minutes, because they're a minute long minimum. Of sharing content and ideas and thoughts and I don't know, advice and tips and tactics, all sorts of stuff. So it's like this, again, like we always said from the start, it is a huge library of content. Eh? Like we've done super well just creating this big platform. Jump in there when you want to jump in there. Get in there. And I still really think, because we push the podcast, of course, we do it once a week and we're always showing it. But that daily D.M.C, mate, there's massive gold in that Instagram account. Hey, and do you ever look back on it and go like, we need to revisit a lot of those details and those topics?
Bro, it's raw and it's real and it's now. That's what I love about it. It's about what's happening right now and our mindset in that moment, and a lot of the things that accumulate for us in the day and in our lives. And then it gets to that point where, we have to articulate it in some way. And I would love to show people the outtakes, because sometimes I have something epic and my lips just don't move the way they're supposed to, or I get so close to saying something unbelievable and then boom, fire, it explodes. So it's hilarious. So there's a couple of takes. There's never any takes with us. No,
that's right.
The D.M.C podcast, but the daily D.M.Cs are hilarious. And what I've been trying to do is I get through a day, so most of mine are at night. I like to process the day and see what's happening. And I want to try and mix it up and get up in the morning and throw some stuff, just a different angle. But super grateful for the opportunity to do it, eh? And man, the opportunity just for us to catch up is awesome, because it's always fucking great to see you. And we talk about the impact that people have in your life and the part they play. You've been instrumental in assisting me just take my wealth, my personal well-being and my personal feeling of wealth to a whole new level, bro. So thank you.
My pleasure, brother. And you as well. Hold that accountability, because it's like we talk about, and I'll drift in and out like we always do, right? You sort of flow through things and areas in your life and development areas and mindset, it always drifts. And you're at a point, and even today, like even in situations where you might be having a conversation, you feel yourself drifting away, you know, when you're in a group environment with people you haven't seen for a while maybe, and you find your mindset sort of maybe a couple of obstacles, you're sort of, you know, you're kind of drifting away, hey? You're like, hold on, bro. Like, this is the stuff we talk about. This is the examples of the things we've got to snap out of it and just be present. Someone's trying to have a conversation with you right now. Maybe you've got other things on your mind. Either don't do the conversation at all or stop and reset and be focused and present. But the beautiful thing is what we always say, it's all about awareness. We have that, so you catch yourself. In the past, maybe you wouldn't call yourself. You would just sit there and let it do what it needs to do. Well, not needs to do, but what it does. But now it's cool because you're like, hold on, stop for a second, reset, release tension, set intention. I can get your shit together. Let's listen. You know, it's cool stuff for us as well. You know.
Yeah, we had a big team meeting yesterday. Catch up. Spent a day in a very warm boardroom talking about a whole range of stuff. And then we managed to get out for dinner. Everybody sits in a social setting, you know, a variety of levels of fatigue, you know, but genuine catch-ups and laughs and a couple of drinks, getting slammed away you, bro. So the soda water was real. The commitment to non-drinking is still fucking 100%. So kudos to you, mate. And the great thing about that dinner party too is just mixing the seating plan up. So, you know, through the night too, you know, you just kind of get up and you move around and then you start a conversation, a couple of really great conversations with people, especially if you haven't seen them in a while. And then what I find is once you kind of break the ice with a couple of the formalities and sort of how what's happening, and then a couple of things just start to float to the surface. And I think that's amazing, you know, especially for looking at, you know, maybe people are going through a lot of stuff in their lives, having children, having babies, you know, new marriages, purchasing houses, all of those types of things. The stresses of work can sometimes get on top of you. So having someone to share that with, I love the opportunity just to kind of not work the room, but just sit in a different setting, move around a little bit and just chat to people. And I've got a full awareness now, even on the plane up here. I sat down next to a guy, you know, he got masks on, it's hard to communicate. And we just started talking about life, you know, and he was passionate. He was talking to me about books. And I even start to say, hey, what are you reading now? And he's talking about books that he's reading about trees and how they communicate. And he was asking me, I had the 4 agreements. So I had the 4 agreements with me and I started to talk to him about the 4 agreements. So he said, yep, I'll make sure I get that. And I wrote down a magazine that he suggested that I pick up too. So those types of things, what they lead to, you know, and what I'm finding is our network is just growing, our network of wealth and our net worth, you know, the value that I feel I have and I add to situations and my confidence and being able to share more of who I am, you know, and that's a relative, and I think we discussed it, we touched on it earlier, you and I, about when you're in those situations, are you actually being your authentic self? Are you comfortable enough? And we've been through it before, you know, in situation where there's a group of people, are you being 100% authentic? Do you feel comfortable to be yourself? And if so, why not? Hey.
Oh, mate, it's you catch yourself all the time, mate. And you're still putting up these barriers. And you're trying to be someone perhaps people think you are, but like we talk about that whole freedom of like just being free, and it's cool because we said years ago we had the podcast, you know, like. And we talked about freaks, say, let your freak out, like be yourself. Don't be afraid of anything, right? And then you realize these sort of things when you start talking, in the old days, you start talking about self-development, you talk about books that you're reading, you talk about wanting to better yourself. People think you're a weirdo. And they might still to this day. But you notice now that we attract people who are the same. And the ones you do mention it to are probably just sitting there in their closet, self-development, freaking passionate about their stuff as well. Like a guy we talked about last week in the cafe that I met out of nowhere. And it's like, they're like, holy shit, hold on, and they perk up because now finally they've found someone that they can relate to and talk about this stuff, where usually most of the time family, like my wife's not interested in this stuff at all. If she hears me talk about anything like this, she's just sick of it because I've been a coach my whole life and all she thinks I try to do is coach her, and anyone that's in a relationship understands you can't, it's a very tough, like, you know, it's that sort of teaching like your kids to drive or your wife to drive, you know, it's sort of one of those things that you better outsource that stuff. They know they need it, but perhaps not from me. But anyway, when you do find people out there, and it's awesome, eh? And they are everywhere. And people that want to discuss these things, book recommendations are a great segue into conversation, eh? I think it's been a benchmark for a lot of our conversations lately, our DMCs that we've randomly had. Would you say that with you as well?
Yeah, a lot of people reading, a lot of people books, and you can see how they clutch them, you know, the meaning and the words, and obviously audiobooks are a little different. Even if someone's got earpods on, say, sorry to interrupt, what are you listening to?
Yeah.
I'm listening to music, you know, and that can spark a conversation if people are generally passionate about music, or it might be a concert. You know, I talked to this guy Stu on the plane about his travels. He's been all over the world, traveled for 8 years, not a penny in his pocket. You know, back in the day when you could. So the life, and he actually lived in Korea for 2 years.
What?
Yeah, taught English. Arrived there without a penny.
No shit.
Yeah.
Kiwi guy.
Yeah, Kiwi guy.
Yeah.
Yep. And now he lives by the airport there. Rides a bike down to the airport.
Oh man.
Jumps on a plane. Yeah. So it's amazing the things that you learn just by reaching out. I flippin' love it. I flippin' love it. And mate, one thing that I have been experiencing lately is, you know, the tongue-in-cheek nature of how we communicate, and you can hassle someone. And picking up the 4 agreements again, I'm thinking about be immaculate with your word. One thing that's really resonated with me is, you know, when someone gives you a little bit of shit about something, and then you kind of go, oh, you can laugh it off, but again, it's just like a little dart, right? And some of them stick. So I'm very aware now of the things that I say and how they affect the other person, but also their perception of me. Because for me, I just don't want to be the person that gives them shit all the time, or you know, jokes around. What I want to be is more sincere with my word, and even what I'm doing is catching darts that other people are throwing. Because I think too, if you're of a mindset to hassle people will throw it back.
Yeah.
And just it's that reflex. You're a dick. No, you're a dick. You know, we do that, eh?
Yeah.
So what I've been doing is catching those darts and saying, "Oh, hang on a second, where'd that come from?"
And
it's actually shocked people. Yeah. So I think for viewers and listeners, don't be afraid to just check if it's if it's a little too close to the bone, even if it's meant in jest, go, "Oh," and someone might just say, "Oh, sorry about that," and then that might change the way they see future conversations.
Yeah, I think it's important, eh? And I love that, because we've got kids now as well, eh? And those sort of, that impeccableness with your word is so massive. And we talked about it, the whole sticks and stones will break my bones, and we're like, yeah, just be thicker, have thicker skin and whatever. But the reality is, they still hurt you in a way. And it's not about that whole, like we talk about, it's not actually about hurting your feelings. It's what those words will do to you in the long term. It's like what they make you think about yourself. You know, like, oh, no, lame shoes, mate. You know, at the time, it doesn't matter, right? But if there's someone drilling beliefs on top of you and on top of you and on top of you, and then at some point you start believing that's what the problem is. Sticks and stones, sure. Don't let people, you know, stress you out or insult you with words. That's what we try to teach to kids, especially. But we do know that from senior people or people that are, you know, coaches or teachers or parents, this shit impacts hard, and it's long-term effects that it impacts hard.
And stand up for your mates too.
Yeah, I love that, eh?
But you can do it in a way that's not aggressive, that doesn't have to be pushing, but it's to say, hey man, where'd that come from? You know, because that's what we need to do. We need to support each other more, and that's what I find our community as it grows. We look after each other and we connect and we shelter each other. But the circle gets wider, right? And we start to push everybody. All that negativity starts to get pushed to the outside, and we become the norm. And I love the impact that this podcast is having, given our listeners and viewers a little bit of confidence and courage that you guys aren't alone, that we've got your back day and night. Man, couple of cool things, and talking about being immaculate with your word. So I even said to my wife the other day, and she checks in with me. She goes, you know, what's the best part of your day? And I said, by far the best part of my day is knowing that I'm going to go to sleep with you tonight. And by sleep, I mean, and she goes, oh, and I said, do you know the best part of my day tomorrow? She goes, what? I said, knowing that I get to wake up with you. Yeah. And she's like, but it was true, right? It's real. And you don't always go that deep or have the courage to say something that deep or profound, but how nice to be able to say that and connect in that way and just let her know that I love her more than anything. Yeah. You know, my kids texting my youngest daughter, who's just got a dream job, saying how proud I am of her and how strong and courageous she is, just flicking a text. How easy is that to do? My oldest daughter, who is unbelievable, you know, just connecting with her in a way that she's starting to discuss moving out of the house, and I just let her know that I don't ever want to let her move out. You know, it's funny, you get to a stage where you go, no, I can't wait for my kids to move out. Then it gets close and you're like, oh, but that's my stuff. I think we talked about it before. That's mine to let go. And I've got to let her move to the next stage of her life. So some cool stuff coming out, giving me the courage to just open up more and just share some really important stuff. So if you've got, never hang on to stuff, You know, they like to say, never go to bed on an argument. But if you've got something in your heart that wants to come out, mate, just let it come out. That's the universe just saying this is the time. Because I think too, what you do is you pick up on energy, and maybe someone needs it at that time. And what you're getting told is you need to say it. You need to say it. So say it if you've got something to say. And if you haven't, peeps out there, if you have someone that you treasure, tell them today. Tell them right now. Flip them a text. It takes 2 seconds and it can have a lifetime of impact. You know? I mean, we're fortunate that we can. Maybe had a great day today, Short on the work and great lunch, super salad, epic salad, who the D.M.C boys dominated the lunch table and cleaned their plates. Our mothers and their mothers would be proud of us, so kudos to you, my friend. And then we played a bit of tennis with the lads. We're gonna do a little bit of a daily together. How cool activity is, you know. How it should be the new trend, and just being able to communicate on a higher level and let people know you appreciate. Our big boss, one of the OGs, employee number 1 of our company, is moving on. Legend of a guy, Ian, was responsible for the culture of our business, and Cody's been with the company for a couple of years. I started because of this guy's energy and the guy who we're staying with at the moment, because of the energy they had, the passion they had, and the commitment to the people, and that's culture. That's 100% culture, and I carry that with me. And so culture is everything. You know, culture is everything. We should be responsible for fostering a positive, supportive, and caring culture. We should take that with us, and that should be our legacy. You know, and that should be something that others will carry and become their legacy. And being kind. That's the type of shit that we should do. You know, not backhanded comments, not flipping bashing people, not being known for being an absolute dick. Because people will see you who love you, and they will replicate it because they love you and care for you. So if you've got some shit habits, they become other people's habits. You don't want those shit habits to be your legacy. So clean it up. Hey, bro, because you know, we talked about it, mate. You carry stuff, and I think Jason's interview about the daddy issues, you know, things that have happened, and the separation anxiety, and all of those things that we carry with us as men. You know, it can deter us from a lot of experiences.
It can also inspire you the way. It's like, that's the cool part about it, that you can sort of fill those voids or gaps perhaps that you weren't given in your upbringing. And it's sort of like, you know, obviously we talked about with my kids and my dad's sort of issue, you know, things growing up, and it's like I can always be there. How cool is it that I can always be there? And that's another advantage of what we do. But having the fact that, you know, tomorrow I've got rugby to go to and I coach the team, and it's like the day that I don't go is the day you'll remember, because that's the memories. And because I don't know what will happen. There's certain times, and you know, of course, when kids are young, they don't appreciate all the time that you're there. We already know that. You get the thanks for that later on when they realize, holy shit, you were there a lot. Whereas they don't really realize that at the time. So it's all this investment, right? And so, you know, and like I've said in the past, I've got one really clear memory of the day my dad didn't show up. And that's cemented in my head. And of course, wasn't a big traumatic experience, but it's just a clear memory. I don't have many. I was only 8 when those memories stopped, when he passed away. But it's like, I don't want to, if I can control it, if I have the power to control it, I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to be one of those days that I said, I'm going to be there. Of course, you can't be at everything, but the day that I say I'm going to be there, you can rely on me, Maddox. I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to be there no matter what. And I don't show up. I fight, like, I'm just going to do my best to not let that happen. It will happen. I know things happen. But I think I love being able to sort of learn from the experiences I had as a kid to be able to change that, to change the cycle, you know, like to tweak things up and be like, or I'm proud of you, or I'm grateful for you.
That goes a long way.
Massive. We never heard that stuff growing up, like never. And it's kind of like, you know, we sit around the table, and as you said before, those things rub off on our kids. My daughter, she's a bit of a different level to Maddox in terms of how she communicates, but she will start the conversation. She'll go, all right, hands in the middle. Let's say, this is her the other day while Mum brought out all the food for dinner. She goes, all right, stop, everyone, hands in the middle. Let's say what we're grateful for right now. And it has to be about Mum's cooking. Ready? I'll go first. And she's like, I'm grateful for Mum and her amazing cooking. Okay, Maddox, your turn. And she leads these things.
Yeah, awesome.
When was the first time, you know, that I would have said the word, I'm grateful for something? Yeah. Probably as a 35-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. Yeah. It would have been nothing I would have even thought about or studied about or really identified with. But because of what we're creating and the legacy we're creating, like you just said, we're giving them all these amazing tools and these mindsets and ways of looking at life. And it's awesome. It's something to be proud of. And that's why, you know, you joke around, if you were to end your days today, if something happened, like, mate, it's so be it. Happy, proud of what we've done. You know, kids had some really good experiences and they're learning cool things is what it's all about, you know. Yeah, I love it, bro.
And continue to learn, so that if anything you can teach anybody anything. We talked about it with Jason. The learning should never stop. And your thirst for knowledge and your joy for learning. And that's one thing you should teach. It's not just about the books and the school and that'll take care of itself, but outside, are you teaching your kids to enjoy some of the obstacles in life, you know, because that's the challenges that they will come up against, the people, you know, you've got to throw them out there and hope that they come back. My kids, you know, I know, and I'm sure they do, that I'm there for them 100%, that anytime they can call me and I will be there.
Yeah.
You know, and if I can't, if it's, you know, 1,000 miles away, they know I am with them.
Yeah.
And yeah, so fuck, the amount of open, honest communication, the chats, the willingness to share is hopefully that's our legacy,
that's right.
You know, that the conversations that people are starting to have, the D.M.Cs that people are starting to have. I got my hair cut the other day, sat down with a young barber, he hadn't cut my hair before, and he was into Muay Thai, you know, fighting, and we just started talking about, and he said, mate, you know, what we were talking about books, and The Power of Now came up, and I just finished it, and he's halfway through, and he's going, mate, he said, blows my mind. And I said, man, how deep is it? We started to talk about that, to go through that. And then I suggested, mate, after that, try following up with this book, you know, 4 agreements, 100%, try reading that. But there's some other stuff that we can try and read. Unfortunately, we were going to see Hugh from the Resilience Project, but the Australian bubble, Boomfa, has collapsed due to COVID, so we didn't get the opportunity, but he'll be back hopefully in August. So seeing that live will be amazing. Recommend the book. If you haven't seen it, got a great journal as well.
Yeah.
Resilience Project, you know, gratitude, empathy and mindfulness, GEM. Things like that stick with you, You know, so far out, you know, I threw a couple of books. The War of Art was a really interesting one. It's a short one, but worth a read because it's real talk. You know, real talk about the same stuff. And you know, we talk about the weight that we carry from our fathers, our you know, the people that came before us, the people that taught us. But reality is, you know, when you think about stuff like, oh, I don't want to be like him, or I don't want to be like them, you're not. That's the thing that there's that separation. I think we, you know, talking about that, the outer body and the inner body. And the book, the War of Art, he was saying, look, what do you think? Even identical twins have completely different personalities. You know, we're born a different energy with a different purpose. You know, so don't think that, oh, I don't want to be like him. You're not. You know, I don't want to be like her. You're not. I don't want to be like them. You are not. You are unique. You are 100% unique. Now, our outer body, our shell that carries us through this world that we live in, will absorb a lot. You know, it's like memory foam. It absorbs a lot. The mind, the little part of the brain that remembers all of that shit, that I wish we had a valve or a string behind the ear that we could just go flush like a toilet, you know, and it would just pour out your ears and you go, oh, fuck, okay, we're back. Let's go.
That's right.
You know, happy days.
And sometimes you kind of do that, I suppose, with conversation and rants or whatever it is. I suppose it is a sense of flushing it out, and you're like, oh, God, happy I got that off my chest. Happy I got rid of that.
Yeah. And I think I recognize my emotional state more now too. I've got a super awareness that I feel myself getting wound up and like, oh, easy, man. Easy, fella.
Yeah.
What? And I almost trace it back.
Yeah.
It's like going down a family tree. I'm going, oh, what caused that little avalanche? I'm like, what's up?
Yeah.
It's okay, bro.
It's crazy. And you do have your strategies to deal with it. And that's, again, exercise or a walk out. Like walking, for example, is a great one. And it's like a chance to process thought, chance to, if you are feeling, for me, if something's is on my head and I'm dwelling on it to the point where it's like starting to affect me a lot.
Yeah,
I'd go for a walk by myself, ears open, eyes open, and you just process everything and you breathe and you slow everything down. And before you know it, you just sort of realize, again, you can trace it back, you can figure it out, and kind of process it. And it's amazing what it does for your mindset. It's just like clearing out those thoughts.
And catching it before you toss it at someone else, before someone else gets affected, before you open the door and the kids come for a hug and you're like, oh, and you take that negative energy, bonfire.
And you take everything that they say and do personally, like we talk about, you're like, what's wrong with them today? What have I done? Or what's going on? Do I have to fix this? What's happening with you? But it's like, he needs to do, specifically I'm talking about my son, he just needs to do what you just did for the hour before he came home.
Yeah.
Process things, take a break, breathe, relax. We don't know what's going on for his entire day while he's been at school. Don't pressure him to do much. Just let him figure it all out. He'll come right, and then go kick the ball around or go for a walk with him and give him a chance to just chill that stuff out. And it works.
Yeah. I think, people, if they're comfortable enough to talk to you about it, all you can do is let them know that they can when they're ready. And that's right.
Yeah.
And because you can go in too hard and it just at that time they're agitated and they're not ready and they're still processing by the time you give someone time to think about if they come home, whether they go to their room or sit in the car or do whatever. Give them time. They come in, let them do what they need to do, and then, hey, how was your day? And then a simple question, how was your day? And you'll find out right then and there with a simple answer. Most people will go, oh, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, that's right.
Great. Or, no, shit, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Shit, you all right? You want to talk about it? Oh, not yet, eh? Just give me a minute.
Yeah.
And usually it's, can I do anything for you? Do you want a coffee? Do you want a tea? Do you want a drink? Sit down. Is there anything I can do to take the weight off? Usually it's, yep, how about fold the towels? And I'm happy to do that. I'm really happy to do that. So
I like hearing your perspective because, of course, your kids are much older.
Yeah.
And so it's like really, it's because there's different strategies all around it. Like when you're talking about that, where it's like for mine, even though they're quite young, it is more of like, it's because they don't know how to, they don't really swallow emotion. They just let it loose, right?
Yeah.
So again, it's a good thing that they're doing that at home and not in public.
Yeah.
And it's their safe zone. They're around people that trust them and love them, and they'll continue to love them no matter how they act within the house. So that's why that's where it's happening.
Yeah.
Whereas when it first started happening, when we started experiencing with it, we're like, what is happening here? Like trying to fix him and like what's happening and the anger. And you're like, mate, would you rather him do that at school during the day?
Yeah.
Like he's got 8 hours or wherever he's been for this and don't, like, this is his zone. Let him do it. And then like we say, hey, like I was saying, and then the towel's a great one. It is still that with kids too. It's like, let's go kick the ball. Let's go for a drive. Max is great for a drive. Yeah. And he's old enough now to sit in the front seat. He DJs, puts whatever music on, and then we just chill. And I just won't say anything. I just wait.
Yeah.
And he will start having yarns. He'll tell you. But it may not even be that drive. It might be on the way home. But I'm giving him the opportunity to have space to be able to do it. And he won't do it around the family at home with everyone there. Of course he won't.
Yeah, I mean, I take every shot I can get. If there's an opportunity, if the kids want to spend time with me, I'll take it.
Yeah.
100% I'll take it. And there's a couple of things, right? They've both got young men in their lives, and I don't know whether there's stress around them concerned about how I feel about them, whether I like them or not. The truth is that no one will ever be good enough for them.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
You've just got to take that on the chin, mate, because don't take it personally. Don't take it personally, but there's not a man on the planet that I think, and I would love to find him. If I can find someone, I've said it before, who can love them half as much as me, then win-win, right?
Yeah.
And because if they hurt, I hurt.
Yeah.
You know, if they're broken, I'm broken. And I they see that sometimes, they don't see it the others.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is, I'm at that point in life where previously I was the number one guy in their life, and I'm having to let that go.
Yeah.
You know, they're readjusting their lives to find their number one.
Yeah.
And like I say, you know, and public health warning to the gentlemen that do currently date my daughters, that nothing means more to me on this planet than my family. So these girls are the biggest treasure on this earth. Now, if they get broken, then I get broken / you get broken. Dad talk, eh? So they're bad boys with a gun. So bad boys with a gun. So, you know, I don't want to be that guy, but yeah, you know, as a parent, like I say, you know, it's that, just gotta let it go.
Yeah.
You just gotta let people live their lives and do what they need to do. But as long as they know that we'll always be there.
Always.
They're earning their own money now, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I mean, having deep and meaningful chats with the fans, which is great. Having deep and meaningful chats with the friends, having deep and meaningful chats with strangers, hearing people use the term deep and meaningful chats again, bringing it back.
Oh, I love it.
Bringing it back. Yeah. One big thing too, we had our promo roll, and we're going to extend it because there's been a little bit of miscommunication about how to, and people shooting posts and tricks everywhere. So we are going to extend it a little. But thank you to the people who have managed to like, subscribe. We're close to 2,000 views on YouTube. On
YouTube, yeah.
That's 2,000 views, which is stunning, man. Yeah. Far out. Who would have thunked?
I know, mate. I know. And it's like we say, there's always a good core group. And then there's always the newbie that comes out of nowhere, and they don't tell you until you might not see them for a while, and they're like, hey, I've been listening to the podcast.
Yeah, and people go back. They're going back to episode 1 and slowly taking the time. Now, what we're trying to do is we're going to shorten it up a bit. We're going to mix it up. We're going to fire some short, sharp, maybe 8 minutes. This is going to be 30 odd minutes probably. But again, mate, once you start chatting, and the tendency is to, you know, if you're planning on having a sit down chat and you think it's going to take half an hour, book an hour, or do whatever, you know, and put your phone away, put your watch away. Time is a construct. Time is a moment between physical elements or objects. So take the time out of it and just sit and drain as much as you can. And, you know, if you do have to fly, if the phone's ringing off the hook, in your pocket vibrating, I just put my phone away now. I'm like, fuck it. The person at the time's more important to me. So phone away, phone in pocket. The phone on table thing we talked about before. What was that in, bro? Where he said, you know, is it was a Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek, you know, is the phone more important than the conversation? No, then.
And like you said, if it's in the middle, it doesn't matter if it's your phone or not, everyone's looking at it. As soon as it lights up with the alert, everyone looks, because you can't help it. And you're like, it's not even your phone. You're like, oh, what am I doing, bro? It's like, just habit. We're all conditioned to respond to the beep, to the vibration, to the screen turning on. Doesn't even have to make a sound.
Brainwashing.
You still look.
Yeah.
It's like, shit, bro, I'm sorry, it's not even my phone. I'm like, what am I trying to look at? So bad, eh?
Mate, brainwashing. So respond to conversations and the noise of someone's voice. And like I say, it's quite weird fronting up and actually looking at you for a change, mate, having a conversation online, instead of looking at the screen going, oh, I can't have a go, mate. But the opportunity that presents itself, and as we, Marwin was saying, the opportunity to talk and actually express your thoughts, but hear them out loud.
Yeah.
You know, and the stuff that comes out for us is just not scripted. We've got a piece of paper here,
that's right.
And it's just what comes out, and it's amazing. Sometimes the timing of some of that stuff, and it's processed. It's something that you've been hanging on to, and it just gets processed and out, and that's the essence of the D.M.C. So, you know, and if you don't build that bridge slowly, if you're not confident enough to go in hard in the first conversation, I'm like, because you had a list of questions, conversation, tell me your deepest, darkest, wildest dream.
So I researched questions. I was just looking for like podcast question ideas. I don't know where this one came up, and the questions were titled. So for those of you that are listening, it was like having deeper conversations with friends.
Yeah.
And the questions were like another level. It's again, for us, even just to dive into them, they're just such interesting questions to kick off with. There's definitely no small talk. It was like it was very interesting, you know?
Yeah. Imagine that you catch it for a coffee, you sit down, coffee arrives, and someone leans over the table and goes, tell me your deepest, darkest secrets. Like, oh, hang on, are you okay, mate? Where'd they come from? Yeah.
All those really uncomfortable ones, eh? But no, it's but you're right, mate. I love the whole idea behind just having those chats, and like I say, the private messages that come through, and they say, I had a D.M.C with someone. I love those messages. Eh? You know, I had a D.M.C with someone today, or my roommate. I had a D.M.C with my roommate.
Yeah,
it's becoming something that, again, we're aware of it. You've got the intention for it, and it happens.
Yep.
And it's cool. It's super cool. You don't have to say, hey, let's have a D.M.C. I mean, you can, but I'm just saying they happen naturally when you get a chance. Just go with it.
Yep.
And ask and learn. If you're not very good at having those conversations in terms of probing questions or just how to flow things, just learn.
Yeah.
Like I quite like the question, what makes you say that? If someone says something about something, you know, like it's a really good one also for someone that has like a judgment on something.
Yeah.
Or on you. You know, so what makes you say that? Because then it makes them think, oh shit, now I've got to explain more about that, or explain my reasoning behind that.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing what happens. Yeah,
just because that's
what I want.
Because someone said, because they said.
But it's a really good one to follow up where you know, I just think that book was rubbish. Oh sweet. Oh, so what makes you say that? What, like, why? What's your thoughts on it? And then you can get into it, and it just creates more conversation and more ways to flow. And it's cool to and you upskill yourself obviously in these areas, you know.
Yeah. Now the funny thing was that I ordered a couple of copies of books, and I ordered the Fifth Agreement as a gift for you, mate. And I grabbed a book and I popped it in an envelope, and I came out and I thought, oh yeah, mate. And at the airport, I went to look at the book and put it out, and thought, oh, I'll just give it a cheeky read. And then I realized straight away it was the 4 agreements. I'm like, well, hang on a second. Is this the preface of the Fifth Agreement? And I looked at it and I'm like, oh man, I've grabbed the wrong book. So I have the book, mate. I'm going to send it to you as a gift. And so the conversation started. But that book's amazing, eh? That book is unreal. I love it. One of the trainees I'm doing at the moment through the gym, one of the sprint trainees, read it, loved it, printed out the four agreements and put that on her door. I think that's incredible, eh?
Yeah.
I think that's incredible.
It's great.
It's stuff to hold ourselves accountable to.
Yeah.
You know, pillars that we should strive to emulate. And again, the legacy of being kind, you know, not being super critical, not non-judgmental, you know, not judging anybody, not taking anything for granted, not not assuming anything, try not to take anything personally. And I always and I love the way it ends. It's like, always do your best. You know, always do your best.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's going to vary, but invariably you're just going to back yourself, eh? You've just got to back yourself in everything.
Yeah.
In conversations in life.
Absolutely, my bro. So again, just a quick follow-up before we finish up. We are going to keep this one a bit shorter today because we've
definitely.
got lots to get done. But team, again, we're gonna, just so we'll relist that this our program, what are we doing? Our giveaway.
Yes.
Yep. So we'll get everyone going on that. Again, please like, subscribe, do all those amazing things. Hit us up with comments. We're getting the odd comment on YouTube, which is great too. Those feedback, those stories, as you know from listening, we like to talk about those. We'll reflect on those comments and questions to us.
Sure.
We love it. So please, if you get a chance, send them on to us. And again, love it. Good to see you, bro.
We're trying to get shorter. We're trying to get sharper. We're going to try it so that the car rides, you don't have to split it. You can take it all in on the way to work, on a flight at the airport, sitting waiting, 30 minutes. We're going to try some even shorter ones than that.
Yeah. Give
us the feedback. Let us know. We can see through the analytics whether it's working. But our main aim is just to create an army of kind, caring, sensible people. We appreciate you guys, and obviously epic to be in the same place with Cody. We are going to plan a live. We're going to go live on Facebook so you guys can reach out. On YouTube. We're going to go live so you guys can reach out and share a bit of time with us and throw some questions at us, because that'll be epic too. We'll plan that. It'll be like maybe a happy hour, so we can do it at a time where everybody's at home from work, and then we can just share and care and laugh, and that'll be sick. But again, thank you so much for the journey. We've got some people lined up for more interviews for some learnings, for some lessons in life and in love, and spirituality and chemistry and all of those types of things. We've got some wicked plans, but yeah, we're so grateful to have you guys along for the ride, and grateful for that guy.
High five.
Yeah, bro. So
love it.
That's our half hour of power, or just about. If you can subscribe to YouTube, that'd be amazing. Yeah, like I say, over 2,000 or nearly 2,000 views. So yeah, gratitude, look after each other. If you can be anything, be kind. We love you guys heaps, so thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you next time on the D.M.C podcast. Peace. See you, team. We're out.